Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
Yes, we rise every day in God. My God is a powerful God. These are the principles that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. This powerful God shows up in the world, expressing in and as and through me. Yes? Yes. Okay. And before I get into this third principle that we're talking about today, let me just invite you to join me today at 1 o'clock over in our offices. We're going to actually start a class about these five principles for spiritual living. You can join us 1 o'clock in our offices or online. And this is also the first course in our year-long study that is Unity University. So if you are ready to go deeper into living these principles and really showing up in the world as God, understanding more about how that threads through your life, please join me today at 1 o'clock. Yes, I would love to have you there. Okay. And so today we're going to be talking about the third principle. Big or small, our thoughts create it all. So this is all about how our thoughts shape our experience, right? And so, one, in our joke off, here we go. So, there's a priest driving erratically. And a policeman pulls him over. And he says, Father, have you been drinking today? And the priest says, I've just been drinking water all day. Well, the policeman peers in the car and he sees a bottle of wine on the passenger side. And he says, well, Father, what's this? And the priest says, I guess Jesus is at it again. Turning the water into wine, right? But really, yeah. So everybody, hey, we know that Jesus performed miracles, right? But did you know that you can too? Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Jesus performed miracles, and so can you. Now, miracles aren't necessarily these great big things, like walking on water, turning water into wine, calming the storm, as Carmen discussed. A miracle in everyday life is just when we can retain our peace, our calm, our equanimity, and walk as God in the world, showing up fully divine as well as fully human, right? Can you think of a time this week maybe when your blood got a little boiling? Maybe somebody cut you off in traffic? Maybe there's a neighbor that's getting under your skin? Or a family member who's talking politics again? Anybody? Or is it just me? Okay. So, you might have chosen in the moment to kind of get hot under the collar and tell them a little something. All right, that's a choice, and sometimes that's the choice we make. But the miracle is when you can transform within yourself and show up differently. That's a miracle. The Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, people usually consider walking on water or walking on thin air to be a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to either walk on water or walk in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day, we're engaged in miracles, which we don't even recognize. the blue sky, the white clouds, the green leaves, the eyes of a child, our own 2 eyes. All is a miracle. Jesus performed miracles, and so can you, right? Amen. And Unity author Ellen Davenport described our 3rd principle in this way. These are her words from the book, The 5 Principles. Human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Okay, so last week, Reverend Juan discussed principles 1 and 2. So the first principle is that everything is one. There's only one power, one presence in the universe. Okay? So that means that we are of that. Principle 2 is that we are both fully human and fully divine. The spark of divinity is within each of us. Okay? So I ask you, if everything is that one powerful God, and you are of that God, does that mean that you have the power of creation? Yes. Yes. You are a powerful creator. Think about that. Let that sink in. You are a powerful creation. Now, Jesus is our way shower. We recognize Jesus as a great teacher, and Unity teachings are based on his life. So what did he do to harness and internalize and then express this power in the world? Well, he took time apart. And that's going to lead into the 4th principle with Reverend Juan. We'll talk more about next week, the power of prayer and meditation that connects us, that deepens our connection into the divine. But yesterday, there was a group of 30 of us who went on a silent retreat at a nearby retreat center. We took time for self-care and to de-stress and go into the silence. Now, are we different than Jesus? Is this something that he didn't have to do? No. Jesus was stressed too. Okay, now laughter. Jesus was stressed too, okay? He had a lot of people, following him around. Like, are we there yet? I'm hungry. Oh, I don't like this. It's too dusty. Hey, moms, can you relate? Any moms out there can relate? All right, Jesus always had people following him around and tugging at him, heal me, right? Right? Mommy, I got a boo-boo, okay? We're no different than Jesus, okay? He had the stresses of life just like we do. Yet, he was able to harness that power of co-creation with the divine. He knew of his power. And so he would go and recharge and reset so that he could walk that in the world. That's the 5th principle that infuses everything. Not only to know it, but to take it out in the world and live it, right? So Unity author Eric Butterworth wrote that Jesus believed in the divinity of each individual, in each person's innate right to health and fulfillment. He insisted that the power that supported him can also inspire and support each of us to a beautiful expression of the creative urge within us. Creative urge within each and every one of us. And there is a divinely inspired potentiality for creative expression within each one of us that the world needs and is awaiting. Hear that. Within each and every one of us is a divine potential which the world needs. You are part of the divine plan, divine order. You have a role to play in the world, in your divine expression. And we're waiting for it. So it's time to show up. Right? Jesus performed miracles, and so can you. So how does this happen? Well, it's about matching our energy and our consciousness to what it is that we want to attract, to what we want to create in the world, what our heart's desire is, okay? Just like water takes the shape of its container, the world, the universe, God matches our energy, okay? So if you want to attract love in your life, be love. You want to attract money in your life, be generous, right? That's how it works. Show up as that. My thoughts create my experience. But, what about when stuff happens that I don't like? I didn't expect it. I didn't create this. Maybe a health challenge, maybe a job loss, maybe an argument. But I didn't ask for this. Why is this showing up? I'll tell you about two friends right now. I have two friends that I know of that are experiencing some deep health challenges. Two of my friends are walking through treatment for breast cancer. And they're doing very well, by the way. And they're very, very deeply, deeply spiritual people, practicing for decades. And I'm just amazed at how they're walking through this, because after that initial shock of, I'm it now, it's happening to me, I got tagged. After that initial shock, they understand that this experience is not happening to them. It's happening for them. It's so easy for us to get defensive. Why me? Why is this happening to me? I didn't ask for that. But Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons writes in his book, Eye of the Storm, because wholeness is the foundation of your being, nothing can oppose you. Take that in. Nothing can oppose you. You have that powerful divine nature within you. Okay? So what arises as an adversary in your life comes from within you. So as we express the divine nature, as the divine flows through us, we are creating our experiences. When we're holding resistance to something, that's when what looks like an adversary shows up. This is an opportunity for us to claim our power, to go through the experience as the Christ. And Reverend Ellen Davenport, again in this book, The 5 Principles, talks about a man who had a heart attack, massive heart attack. And before the heart attack, his family was in disarray. There was a lot of rife, there was a lot of arguments. His family had pretty much given up on each other. But while he was hospitalized, one of his children came to visit him. And then another one, and then another one. And guess what? Now they're showing up together. And now they're planning and bringing meals to the hospital together. And so there's this healing happening within his family. And even though ultimately his physical body did demise, a healing had happened in his family. That was his heart's desire, was to heal the family. And once that was accomplished, he didn't need his body anymore. So he created that experience of healing for his family in a way that most people wouldn't recognize. The Gospel of John, chapter 7, says, "Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." Okay? That means with the vision of the divine nature, not from our human side. Oh, why is this happening? It's so bad. But rather with divine eyes. What is the good? What is the healing? What is the energy here? What is this movement in my life? As Jesus performed miracles, and so can you. You know, at yesterday's silent retreat, after 6 hours of silence, we had some group sharing. And one of the things that was brought up, and it wasn't a solitary experience, a few people shared that they had come into the retreat a little nervous, maybe a little scared. They're not typically comfortable in silence. And they related this to childhood experiences where silence meant, oh, there was some bad stuff happening in the house. Waiting for that other shoe to drop. There's an argument about to happen, right? So silence to them was something kind of fearful, kind of nerve-wracking. But in this space at the silent retreat, in this loving, sacred space with safe community members sharing love, the experience of silence was transformed. And in that safe space, they were able to rejuvenate themselves in their experience of the divine in that silence. That transformation is a miracle. There's miracles large and miracles small. They're all miracles. Jesus performed miracles, and so can you. One of our early Unity authors, Emily Cady, wrote in her book, Lessons in Truth, "Desire in the heart for anything is God's sure promise sent beforehand to indicate that it is yours already in the limitless realm of supply. And whatever you want, you can have for the asking." Now, that teaching is brought up a lot in prosperity circles and also in terms of healing. And it can apply to just about anything in life, as it's about getting your thoughts and your feelings in alignment and sending out that vibration. As I said earlier, the universe will match that, right? There is no miracle too small. And so, another joke for you. There's a man talking to God, and he says, "God, what is 1,000,000 years to you?" God said, "Oh, well, it's like a second." So he says, "Well, God, what's $1,000,000 worth to you?" God says, "It's like a penny." So the guy says, "Well, God, can I have a penny?" Well, God says, "Sure, just a second." Yay, you like that one. It's so manifesting, co-creating, this is about more than just the wishful thinking, okay? The guy in the joke just had wishful thinking, right? He didn't match his feelings to his thoughts and create that powerful vibration, right? But we are to follow Jesus' example of claiming the power of your divinity and your divinity and your divinity. Okay? Everybody's got divinity. Okay? So the miracles that we create in everyday life are not walking on water or raising the dead, but to experience the miracles every day, as Thich Nhat Hanh said, the blue sky, the white clouds, the green leaves, the eyes of a child. Okay? So Jesus performed miracles and recognized the miracles in everyday life. And so can you. And so it is.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.